Hey guys, and welcome to a new video. 2 days to go and we are launching into the legacy of the Phrecia event. And this event got me hyped so incredibly hard when looking at all these new ascendancies, and it just giving me so many vibes of like just try whatever you haven't tried before. And since I'm running over 14,000 or even close to 15,000 hours in Period 1, and I think I've done a lot of things, there is still a bunch of things that I have not done before, and this is basically what I'm going to talk about today. My plans for the week 1 of the Legacy of the Phrecia event. So as I mentioned in my yesterday's video, picking my starter, like usually you have to understand I'm the guy that doesn't mind leveling a new character, trying out a different class or ascendancy or something like that, and it's not a rare occasion that I play 10, 15 or even 20 builds based on how motivated I am per league. This time around, I only kind of want to play 1 or 2 characters and try to min-max that for the duration of the event, which is about 30 days. So the way it's probably going to run down, it's going to be a 1-month event. Then after like 1 month, probably somewhere end of March or something, will be the PoE 2 0.2 patch, which basically will most likely kill the event. Obviously, there's going to be people that are still going to play PoE 1 over PoE 2, but I think the majority of players will try out the new PoE 2 patch, which basically will kill the event. And then after PoE 2, we're going to go into 326 expansion. So this is kind of like the timeline that I assume is going to get down. So as I said yesterday, I decided to pick the Scion Scavenger as my main character for the event, because there is so many build opportunities that you have, because it has so many unique items baked into the ascendancy passive points, whether it's a Cloak of Flame, Shafts Wrappings, you have Surface Heart, you have a Void Battery, you have the Fulcrum, and so on and so forth. But the build that I want to play for mapping is going to be more of the mid to end game budget. We talk about 100 divines plus, right? So the question is, how do I even get to this point? What do I league start with based on like skills? What do I want to farm until then? And since this league, as I said, or the event is giving me some vibes of like just do stuff that you haven't done before, I decided to play something that I haven't done before with a mapping strategy or currency farming strategy that I haven't done before. So if you take a look at my YouTube channel, you're going to see all kinds of like ignite builds, power charge stacking, strength stacking, life stacking, whatever there is. But builds that you're not going to find on my YouTube channel is like minion builds or summoners in general, miner builds, trapper builds, and so on and so forth. And you're actually going to find a miner build that I've played in 3.7, which is a Legion League. I have no idea. I need to count now how many years this is ago. PoE is now a completely different game. I think back in the day, the end game was basically Uber Elder. That was even before Cyrus conquered the Atlas, and so on and so forth. So long time ago, and that's why I decided that I want to play a miner build as my league starter. This is some complete unknown territory for me. I can just play any ignite build and I will be just fine, just based on how many ignite builds I've already played. So a miner build will be something completely different, and I decided to do Hexblast Mines. Hexblast Mines is a build that came out, I think, in like 321, 322, something like that. It is already a self-build, playing as an occultist or the saboteur. So build guides for that are already out, and I'm just gonna play Hexblast Mines on the Scavenger, just because we have the Void Battery as your ascendancy node, and then with Cloak of Flame gives you some nice physical damage mitigation, as well as a lot of damage coming from the Void Battery ascendancy. It is going to be a power charge stacker, so anything that has to do with power charge stacking, Relic Ash boots, and so on and so forth, Badge of the Brotherhood, Restless Ward will be into this build. And obviously you're gonna say like, wait a second, Relic Ash boots are like 20 divines or 30 divines or whatever it's going to be. Yes, I'm aware of that, but it's not going to be the starting version, because for Hexblast Mines to work, you don't really need anything specific. All you need basically is a curse on hit to trigger the Hexblast explosion. And since this is kind of like unique in the way the skill functions, with like that all damage can ignite, freeze, and shock, and your chaos damage with hits is resisted by the lowest resistance, just means we can use something like flammability or conductivity. Doesn't really matter. You just want to target one resistance of the enemy, and this is basically going to be mitigating your Hexblast skill. So the lower resistance, the more damage you do, and then you just go with Wither Totems, and you should be fine for like some very, very early farming strategies. So let's talk about the farming strategies. So things that are a lot of people are doing early on that I personally have never done is something like the Chaos Orb recipe. I think I still never gonna do that because I just hate this like inventory management. But then there is like Heist, there is Sanctum, there is Delve, and what do all of these farming strategies have in common? They are out of map stuff. Which basically means since the Atlas passive tree is going to get reworked, or at least not even reworked, completely removed, and it's all about the idle system, I don't want to deal with that early on because I personally don't even know which kind of nodes are on there. What GGG said is that if you farm specific idols and just go all out on Essence, it's going to be even stronger than what the Essence nodes on the Atlas passive tree would have given you beforehand, right? But since there is no list, as far as I know, I don't know if they got data mined already, I don't really care about that as of right now. But before, like, doing the Atlas and stuff like that, I just want to sit in Sanctum and just make early currency. So this is something that is completely off of my typical league start. Usually what I do is I just do the campaign with whatever build, you know, and then just filling out my entire Atlas. And once we hit like day 4 or 5, based on how fast I am, how good the league start build is that I'm playing, my Atlas is completely fledged out, all the bonus objectives done, all the rare T16 corrupted maps done, so everything, right? And then after like 4 or 5 days, when everything is said and done, then I start my first currency farming method in maps, whatever this is going to be, because I'm not the guy that is a fan of like divines per hour strategies. I don't really care about that. I just ask myself, yo, what am I up to farm? Oh, I'm feeling like Sanctum. I'm feeling like Simulacrum. Then I just farm 6 Simulacrums. You know, if I feel like I want to do Ritual, then I'm do Ritual. You know, I personally never care about this Divines per hour. I just always play the stuff that I'm up to because this is basically what's all about. If you're enjoying what you're farming, you're gonna farm more, even though it's probably less divines per hour than other strategies, but this doesn't really matter at all, right? So, out of map content, as I said, Delve, Heist, Sanctum, everything doesn't have to do with anything with mapping or idols. And the way I plan to do this is basically just league start as whatever. Maybe it's going to be Essence Drain, maybe it's going to be something on the lines of whatever, maybe even Pyroclast Mines or whatever. Until I reach a certain point where I can start using Hexblast Mines. Thing is, what does this build actually need? You need a curse on hit, and this can be achieved through a ring, but they are usually very expensive. As I said, we don't need to target anything specific, just anything, conductivity, flammability, or whatnot. But there are certain uniques that give you that early on, which is, for example, the Dread Arc weapon. If I pull this one up, Dread Arc PoE. So this is like usually a very, very cheap early, requires level 16, but it has the curse enemies with flammability on hit, which is mandatory or necessary to have like big Hexblast damage with the explosions, because when a target is cursed, then Hexblast gets this explosion. If it's not cursed, it doesn't have the explosion. So until the point where we have actually a flammability or any other form of curse, we're not going to play Hexblast. But as I say again, the way I plan to do this is just league start with whatever I feel comfortable with leveling with, and once we reach level 45 or something, somewhere at 6, 7 or something, you're gonna find your first heist cache, right? And this allows you to have coins, this allows you to go into the Rogue Harbor and start heisting. And the heist contracts that the vendor sells is always, I think, based on the character level of yourself, right? And it also caps out on like 68 or 70 or something like that. So this would be the first awkward stuff that I would do, is literally going from, as soon as I find the first Rogue Harbor thingy, then I start heisting. Doing level 45 contracts, level 50 contracts, and basically every time you level up, the vendor basically refreshes the stuff, the contracts that it sells to you, right? So you would just buy contracts, run those, you level up, you buy more contracts, you level up, you buy more contracts, and you just rinse and repeat until you get like level 68, 69 or whatever. until it stops. And this, at that point, we should probably accumulate like 100 chaos or something, maybe 150, and start assembling our gear. This is the point where I would then continue the campaign. So we're gonna be like level 68 or whatever when we do Act 7, 8, 9, and 10. And this would basically give me access to my first Sanctum at the end of the campaign, the quest stuff, right? I don't think that I want to kill Kitaba at this point because seeing the Ascendancy notes over here, the last Ascendancy point will not be beneficial to the Hexblast Mine's character. So we don't really need that. Obviously, Adrenaline is quite nice, but you could still also play like a Death Rush ring or something like that to get this extra speed, because Sanctum, as far as I know, is all about speed and just not getting hit, basically, right? So we would do the first lap to skill points, second lap would be Cloak of Flame for the physical damage mitigation, and then once we have the third lap, we get the Void Battery, and this should be enough to just farm Sanctums all day long. So basically, doing the campaign until like Act 6 or 7, trying to get some early items like the Dread Arc or the Dwedra's Gloves to gain some extra damage for the Hexblast Mines, then doing the Heist farming, and then finishing or continuing the campaign, and then start farming Sanctums. As I said, this is something I have not done before, and I'm really looking forward to trying this one out, because as we know, Sanctum runners are always like drowning in divines, and there is even some funny thing going on with, let me see, just recently Path of Exile made even a post about it, which is, I think, is personally really fun, which is this one over here. I fought for God, Exile, who do you fight for, SRU or the ASA, which is basically some meme going on. I think ASA is the Anti-Sanctum Association or something, and SRU is the Sanctum Runner Union or something, you know, where people are basically trying to join either side, and what the ASA is trying to do is buy all the tomes and just delete them from the game, so Sanctum runners do not have access to tomes to run them to make currency, kind of a thing. I don't know, I personally don't care. I think it's just funny that GGG actually steps on the meme and continues the legacy, right? But yeah, this is basically my plans for the early league. As I said, doing things completely different as I would normally do. I'm league starting a miner character, I'm farming Heist, and I'm also gonna farm Sanctum for the first week, and we're gonna see how things are going down the route, and I'm gonna keep you guys updated on a daily basis on how my character evolves, what items do I get, how the build plays like, because as I said, I have no clue about mines. As I said, last time I played mines was like back in Legion League, and everything has changed, and we're gonna see how the journey is gonna go before I'm actually going into my planned build to then start farming maps with idols and whatever I feel comfortable at this point. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, and see you on the next video.